Oh man, I really want to be part of the superhero group. I mean, I've tried out a bunch of times for a few different ones and just never get the call back. But I know this time's going to be my time. It's going to be my time.
Okay. You need to just calm down.
I can't help it. I'm just so excited.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you wanna calm down, just chill out for a minute. What you should do is listen to the Pod Bros Network.
The Pod Bros Network.
Yeah, they've got tons of different podcasts. They've got stuff about video games, stuff about movies. They've even got Pencil and Ink Reviews, which is one about comic books, which is about superheroes, which is what you are.
Oh, there's a podcast I can be on, huh?
Sure. I mean, you'd have to chill out a bit, but okay.
Sweet. I'm going to download those right now.
All right. Sounds good.
So, what's your superpower, by the way?
Oh, me, I say sentences that are slightly homoerotic. I like penis.
Maybe we should just listen to the Pod Bros Network.
I like penis. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I am Home Alone Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. Are there burglars trying to break into your house?
Do you guys give up? Or are you thirsty for more?
Is Joe Pesci trying to break into your house?
Dude, I'm totally going to shave my beard off tonight. Ah!
You know, I will say one thing, though. If Joe Pesci broke into my house, I would be actually scared. Because think about it. I mean, yeah, he was in Home Alone. That's all fine and good. But think about the other movies he was in. Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Casino. Like, I'm thinking if Joe Pesci breaks into my house, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's going to bust out my fucking kneecaps.
No paint cans or cars on the floor are going to save you.
Yeah.
Isn't Goodfellas where he like pops open the trunk and just pops a dude? No. He pops the dude at the club, doesn't he? That kid.
Yeah. Shoots the kid dead.
It's like, what's funny? My fucking joke or something?
Right. And the dude, it was the kid. He was in The Sopranos. Damn it. Oh, my brain is not functioning today.
Yeah, I've only seen Goodfellas once, and I've actually never seen Sopranos, so.
Oh, dude.
Just haven't got around to it.
Oh.
But right now, I am rocking the Casa Solo. The wife is going for a ladies' weekend, a couple hours away, so I've got the place to myself. I'm in my whitey tighties doing all kinds of risky business, sliding around. I only fell 3 times and scraped my knee and cried, but, it's all good.
Why wasn't anybody here to help me? Nobody told me this was a bad choice.
But I was telling you earlier when we started this, I've ordered my pizza and my wings, so we might have to have a little break in here when I go to pick that up. But for the most part, man, we can yell as loud as we want. We can curse. I am full bachelor mode right now.
Well, you can. I am not. I am not sans people. But okay, before we start anything, I'm gonna get this out of the way. Are you wearing pants?
Dude, no, I'm totally naked.
Oh, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Why would I wear pants when I'm home alone?
I mean, agreed.
And I got pizza on the way, so I mean, don't you answer the door naked when you get pizza? Oh, how am I gonna pay for this? I don't have any money.
Oh, if I had a nickel, I would have 25 cents, and I want to talk about it. I've done it 5 times. That's what that means.
We got that YouTube page now, so I got to get us some content. So, I got the camera set up. Doorbell's going to ring. I'm going to walk up in a towel and, be fumbling around and drop the towel. Oh, this is embarrassing. He's like, it's kind of cold out.
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. So, okay, good segue, because here we go. Speaking of being an asshole, I would be remiss to admit that your humble co-host, am a bit of an asshole.
What'd you do?
Here's what I did. Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you the story. And after I'm done telling you the story, number 1, I want you to tell me what you have done, what you would have done. Actually, as I'm telling the story, you could go ahead and give me like what you would have done in this situation.
Okay.
And 2, I think this will kind of foster a discussion about what it means to be not even necessarily a male, but maybe just a dad. I don't know. So I'm gonna set the stage for you, okay? My son, 10 years old, he does the things that boys do. They run around, they jump around, they do all sorts of crazy stuff. Okay?
Yeah, we all did it. I pretended to be a wrestler when I was about that age. You climb up on the side of the couch and jump off of it, body slam your sister, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, you body slam your sister, you power bomb them, they run off crying, and you're like, oh, whatever.
You just raise your belt up in the air and say, "Yeah, still champion, huh, sis?"
Yeah. Who wins? I win.
And then Dad comes in and spanks you, and he's like, "You win, Dad. You're the champion."
Yeah. Okay, so my son, I will say, I'm going to preface this by saying that he does have a tendency to overreact to pain. If he's slightly uncomfortable, if things are not, 100%, he does have a tendency to make sure that So I'm going to take that into account because this was in my line of thinking.
So borderline drama queen, you kind of scrape the knee.
A little. I mean, not bad, but so my son is at a friend's house, and they come up with this game where they're going to jump off the porch. So this is what they're doing. They're jumping off the porch. It's a good probably 6 feet. Well, no, not even that. Probably 5 feet off. They get up on the railing and jump off. It's like, maybe 5 feet off the ground.
Okay, not real high.
So he jumps once and he does a little tuck and roll and whatever, and everything's great. And he goes up and he does a second jump and he lands all cool, like I'm sure you did when you were sliding across the floor.
Yeah.
Third time, I'm inside the house and there's a knock at the door. And I open the door and it's the neighbor kid, and I'm like, Richard's outside. I was like, you're with him. What do you? Why are you knocking on my door? Richard jumped off the porch and hurt himself. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Okay.
So I go outside, and he is on the ground, and he's laying on his back, and he is beside himself. Like he's
crying and wailing, or
yeah. His leg hurts. That's what he's telling me. Telling me his leg hurts. So he's a boy. He jumps off the porch. He says his leg hurts. What in this situation? What's your line of thinking here?
I mean, if I know he's been jumping off a few times, maybe he kind of jammed his knee a little bit. Maybe jammed his ankle.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking, he probably just needs to kind of chill out for a bit. So I pick him up and I throw him over my shoulder and I carry him into the house. And I lay him down, and he's not calming down at all. Not calming down whatsoever.
So you throw the old ice pack on the ankle leg, or
I gotta hand it to my wife because she sprung into action with all the stuff. She's like, "Don't you know race?" I'm like, "What is? You're using acronyms? What is it?"
Honey, his leg hurts. This is no time. It's no time for us to sprint.
Yeah, she's
obviously
saying no. It's rice. It's
rice.
rice. It's
okay.
not race. It's rice. She's talking to me about rice, and I'm like, "What? I have no idea what you're talking about right now."
Lunch was an hour ago, babe. I'm
lunch
full.
was an hour ago, and you're saying words to me. I have no idea what you're talking about. She says it's rest, ice, compression, elevation.
Okay.
That's what all that means. And I'm like, oh, that's why you went to college.
Babe, I wasn't listening. Is there going to be a test after this? I'm trying to take care of our kid.
You're wanting me to take notes. I mean, is there a quiz? Is there an oral examination?
I'll totally pass that oral, babe.
Because I could pass an oral examination.
I'll do my ABCs.
Yeah.
A, B. Wait, what were we doing, babe? I forgot.
What?
Oh, the kid, right. Sorry.
Anyway, the boy. So.
Wait, so I guess before we start laughing too much, he's okay, right?
So she puts the ice on his knee and, raises it up. And he's starting to chill out. He's starting to calm down. but he's still like saying like it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. So usually the tactic I'll go with is I threaten the hospital. Because kids hate hospitals. They hate doctors. They hate it all. So you threaten that, and then usually that kind of like stops whatever's going on.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like then it's like, oh, it's not that bad.
Like kids like, oh man, I'm really, really hungry. It's like, okay, well, I'll make some beans or some peas. Oh yeah, well, I'm not really that hungry.
Exactly. So I go with that tactic. I'm like, well, I was like, looks like we have to go to the hospital. And I play it up. I'm like, looks like we have to go to the hospital. They're probably gonna take the leg. And he's like, that's fine, whatever. And I'm like, what? So at this point, I'm kind of getting like, all right, like seriously, it's time. It's time to chill out. Like it's time to calm down. Like you hurt your knee. Maybe you sprained it a little. I was like, boys are resilient, and they are. I've seen him walk into walls, and he's totally fine. It's all good. So I go with the quintessential. What would your father in this situation? What were the 2 words that he would probably say to you at this point?
I don't know. It depends. I'm sure it'd actually probably be more my mom than my dad. Mom would probably give me like the toughen up. It's not that bad speech.
Toughen up. That's what he would say. That's what my father would say in that situation. He'd be the whole like, oh, it's, you're not, yeah, you're fine. Just walk it off. But he's having none of it. So finally I'm like, all right, fine. We'll go to the hospital. I was like, if you can't calm down, I was like, this is what's going to happen. So I carry him to the car and we go to the hospital. Actually, I work there. So it was on my way to work. I had to work that day. So they dropped me off and then my wife takes him into the ER. So I don't hear anything and I don't hear anything. I get a text like 2 hours later. He broke a bone.
Oh, geez.
He had 2 fractures in his in like his shin bone.
Okay.
2 fractures. So now at this point, after my whole hey, toughen up speech, hey, it's not that bad speech, who feels like the complete and utter asshole at this point?
Yeah, I'm picturing like this is what would happen with me if I gave that speech. I come home and I'm hugging my son and just crying and be like, I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Daddy, I'll believe you forever and ever.
Exactly. It's that or it's overcompensation. Like you come home with like a gigantic teddy bear and a live horse. And you're like, here, whatever, I don't care.
Since you can't jump anymore, here's a brand new PlayStation and
please
I got a computer
love me
order.
again.
So it wasn't like set the stage, I guess. So it wasn't a complete break. Like you didn't carry him into the living room, put him on the couch and his legs just like swaying around.
No, exactly. Like he still had we put his leg up and he still could, move his toes. Like I have never broken a bone.
I have never broken a bone or had stitches.
Okay, I did have stitches, but I've never broken a bone. And so my conventional wisdom says if there's movement, like, say if in this case, I was like, well, wiggle your toes, and he could wiggle his toes. So my thing is it's not broken because he can still wiggle his toes.
Yeah. And did you guys like check like his leg anywhere where he said it was hurting, or did it not even
Right,
actually...
yeah, we looked there, like there was no swelling, there was no bruising, nothing. But he had a hairline. He's got 2 hairline fractures in his like a shin bone.
Well, what do they even do for that? Because whenever you said break, and whenever I think break, that's like cast, all this other stuff. But since it's
he's in a cast.
Oh,
right
is
now.
he?
Yes, he is. From his foot all the way up to about halfway up his thigh. He's got a cast. He's got crutches. He's got the whole deal. He's just a hobbling reminder of how big a piece of shit I am.
He's sitting in the living room. He's like, man, I could really go for a juicy juice. He's like sitting next to you trying to struggle to get up.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
oh man, this leg still really hurts. It's like, I'll get it, son. Don't worry.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, I mean, and you know what? I deserve every single bit of it.
Well, I don't really know what the proper protocol for something like that is. It sounds like you guys, came to the rush like you're supposed to. You did the things, you checked. I mean, obviously, if his leg was swaying back and forth and he had no control over it, that's an instant trip to the hospital. But,
Sure.
From this, even your wife kind of looking at couldn't tell anything.
Right, and actually, like they did an X-ray, and even the nurse that was there, I mean, she even said, I really just thought maybe he sprained it. I really wouldn't, just looking at it, I wouldn't have suspected that there was a break because there's no, I mean, like I said, there wasn't really swelling, there wasn't bruising, there's none of that.
Yeah, so I don't think you should feel like too much of a jerk for that because especially if the nurse is telling you, like, oh, I had to actually use this heavy duty equipment, and even then it was a very hairline.
Yeah,
thing.
I wasn't there for that bit. I was there for the text saying he had a fracture in two places.
Well, and when you're telling me that story too, I was figuring that if it was something bad, you would have got like the text right away, unless it took him a while to get in. I guess that could have been the case.
Yeah, I mean there was that. Oh, yeah, two tibial fractures.
And is that his first break?
Yes, it is. That's actually the first. This is the first time any of the kids have broken a bone.
Have any of the kids had stitches or anything before?
No.
That's surprising the way. I mean, you talk about Richard's kind of. You told the story of him swinging on the bathroom rod thing, and falling and not hurting, not needing stitches or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not very surprising that I didn't have any broken bones or stitches because I wasn't very adventurous. I didn't take many risks when it came to stuff like that because I think at a young age, I, air quotes, accidentally pushed my sister into a wall when we were playing, and she had to have stitches. And it was kind of that same scenario. My sister and I were running up and down the hallway. She was like maybe 3, I was like maybe 4, or, she was 2, I was 3, something like that. And so we're running up and down the hall, and for some reason I got dizzy, and I kind of bumped into her and pushed her into the side of the wall. And same scenario, she's laying on the floor just bawling, and Mom comes over. It's like, get up, it's not that bad. Get up. And when she comes up, there's like just blood gushing over her head, and Mom's like, oh my God, we gotta get to the hospital. And I think she had to have like 5 or 6 stitches. How
bad did you feel? Or you were 4, you didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't think I really even remember it that much.
Like you're sitting in the ER going, why is this taking so long?
Can we just leave her here and come back? Turtles is on.
God, you are the worst.
I swear, this sister stuff is just for the birds.
You eat my day. But yeah, so your mom was the one that was the whole like, oh, walk it off, it'll be fine.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, my dad was an EMT for a while, and he always had the joke, if you're not bleeding, you're fine. But he would have been more the person, I think, if I came in there or, somebody said, oh, God, Shawn's hurt, he'd come running out. The other story I remember, I've got a lot of stories of, like, almost bad things happening. Living in the Midwest, I don't know if you did this or not, but we had very redneck pools. And
by redneck pools, you mean...
those big, like, plastic troughs that you buy for, like, cows and stuff? Those big circular ones? They're, like, maybe 2 foot, 3 foot deep.
Oh, okay.
That was our swimming pool. Something was like a couple $100.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And so my sister and I would swim in that. And when we were done, we had to walk across some rocks to get up to the house. So, we never wore shoes. So you'd be, like, putting your hand on the wall as you walk because you don't hurt your feet to walk on the rocks.
Right.
And one day we were fighting about something as we were leaving the pool, and I had my hand on the wall, and she just takes the door to the garage and slams it.
Oh, slammed your hand in the door?
Not just in the door. You know, like when you open a door, there's that little crease where the door shuts on.
Right.
My hand was between that part and the door, so I got pinched,
Oh.
and I let out a blood-curdling scream because it fucking hurt. My mom comes rushing out. My dad was leaving the house at this point. He slams on his brakes and come out. Mom freaks out thinking that I got ran over. Like that's what was running through her mind. And it was kind of that scenario. I walk up and like, oh, my fingers. Mom's like, you'll be fine. You might lose your nails. And Dad's a little bit more concerned.
Did you lose your nails?
I don't think so. I mean,
I had that happen. I did have that happen. Where was I? I was in the backyard and I was playing or something, and I think I slid through the grass, and as I was sliding through the grass, my thumbnail caught a rock and it actually ripped a chunk of it off.
Yeah, I think with that it grew out a little bit. And I might have lost like a quarter of a nail as it got further out, but it wasn't the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I was concerned the whole time. I was like, you might lose your nail. And as a, 8 or 9 year old kid, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my nail. I'll never have a nail again. Is that going to hurt? Is that going to hurt? Like, well, it might,
What's going to happen?
I don't want to die. Just cut my finger off. I don't want to live.
Take the finger.
I don't, So the other so I put my sister through a lot. I pushed her into a wall, and about the same age, I barely remember this too, but she remembers it clear as day. In the house we lived in, we had stairs going down to a basement. It wasn't a finished basement or anything; it had a concrete floor. And I think the steps were even just kind of like linoleum.
Oh yeah, I got you. This kind of like plywood with like little like linoleum tiles on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we had these like 3-wheelers that you could kind of push yourself on. And I really, really, really wanted to ride these 3-wheelers down the steps. But I wasn't really sure how safe it was. So I was like, hey, Michelle.
You're standing there and you're just like, both of you are looking at the stairs and be like, it'd be awesome to ride the bike down those. And then she's like, yeah, it would. Well, we need someone to test it. Well, who's going to...
Pretty much. It's like, all right, no, see, I'll barely push you so you can ride down. And she goes down and she even remembers, she's like, it was a fun ride until I hit that last step. And just, woo! I vaguely remember this. I'm pretty sure what I did is after, she hit that last step and went flying and started crying, I imagine 3-year-old Shawn at the top of the steps just shrugging his shoulders and be like, well, guess that was a bad idea. Walking into the living room and playing with my turtles.
Dude, see, you weren't concerned about... See, I was always concerned whenever I caused my sisters pain, and I did quite frequently. But whenever I did, I was always concerned about them telling the parents. So, like, when you did that and she starts, losing her shit, like, your first concern... I'm not saying that you were concerned for her at all, because, I mean, we both know you weren't. But I'm saying my first concern would be, oh, shit, she's going to go tell mom.
I mean, I must have been just at too young of an age that never really had happened yet. So that thought didn't even cross my mind. Like, the thought was, she, why would I get in trouble? She, I don't think I could have processed that.
She's the one hurt.
Yeah. I mean, she was the one that ran down there. She just drew the short straw and went first.
Boosh.
Yeah, it's a funny story. She still tells this day. It's like, it was a fun ride till that last step.
Yeah.
I think that's really the only like kind of harm I put my sister in. I think after that, I was a little bit more protective and not as willing to put my sister in harm's way.
See, yeah, I mean, like with my sisters, it wasn't really until I became an adult that I stopped messing with them. God, so I really am a terrible person. Now that I'm sitting here saying all this stuff out loud. But no, he's totally fine. They gave him some decent painkillers. So yeah, I hadn't mentioned this bit. So he's in the ER and they're putting a half cast on him right now, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go to lunch soon, so just let me know when you're on your way down and I'll meet you. because they probably hadn't eaten all day. So I was like, well, when they get down, I'll just. And so I'm picturing, I don't know why. So I'm picturing like one of those like air casts, that they like, it has like, that they like just Velcro on,
Yeah.
kind of like a brace. That's what I'm picturing.
Like just on his ankle, like up to his ankle.
Right. Like on his ankle, and he's just,
hobbling in, not on crutches. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get the text like, hey, we're coming down right now. I'm like, okay, I'll meet you. So I'm standing in the hallway, and around the corner comes my wife pushing my son in a wheelchair.
Oh. How far did your heart sink when you saw that?
Oh my, yeah, completely. I was like, wow, this is how you really make a person feel terrible. Comes around the corner. He's in the wheelchair. He's wearing a hospital gown because, he's got this gigantic cast on his leg, and he came in wearing jeans. So his jeans aren't going to go over the cast, so he's still in the gown because he's not wearing pants.
So he's like, yeah, Dad, this is what's happening.
Yeah, just comes around the corner in this wheelchair with his leg wrapped up from, like I said, from the foot all the way up to halfway up his thigh. And I'm just standing there just like, wow, that's what's going on. This is happening.
All those dreams, Dad, I had. They said if I would have just came in 20 minutes sooner, I could have been anything. But now, no. I'll be confined to this wheelchair.
Now I am a broken shell of a boy who shall never realize his dreams of professional sports.
It's like, you don't even play sports. Yeah, I can't now, can I?
No. I wanted to shoot the winning basket. You don't play basketball. No, I don't. And I never will. It's not about my leg, Dad. It's about this. It's about heart. It's about what's up here.
As I was jumping off that banister, I was thinking of that slam dunk I was going to make in the 9th inning with the bases loaded.
Yeah, I jumped off that porch as a boy full of hopes and dreams, and I came down as nothing but a broken shell of a human being. And what did you do? What did you meet it with? Mockery.
Walk it off, Dad. Walk it off, son.
Walk
That's
it
what
off.
He said.
Let's see if I can walk it off now, you son of a bitch.
It's like, they give him any medicine or something? Can we knock this kid out? It's embarrassing.
Yeah, how good are these painkillers? Because not good enough. Not good enough, you bastard. So he rolls up and he's got the cast on, and he just has this look on. Such a gracious dude, because he has this look on his face, just like, yeah, it's whatever. Like, he comes up and I'm like, how you doing, bud? He's like, I'm okay. He's like, I'm really hungry though. I'm like, I'll feed you. I got food. Let me go get food. So I run over to the little cafeteria line. I get him. I like pile a plate on like full of food, and I was like, "Here you go."
You bring it over. He's like, "I don't like anything on here." Oh, I know, this is all shit. You throw it away. Go get more stuff.
This is all shit. I hate this. Yeah, I wouldn't eat it either. It's swill. Let me get you new stuff. We want candy bars. I did go with candy.
Yeah,
I did try and ply it with candy.
So, how much pain was he in after he got the cast? Is it that it kind of start going away, or is he still kind of sore? Or
at this point right now, it's still pretty sore because he doesn't. It's what they call a half cast, where it's just basically like they just kind of wrap it up in a giant bandage.
Gotcha.
Later in a day or two, he has an appointment where he's gonna get like the full kind of plaster cast put on.
So did they say why they can't just use like an air cast? Why do they have to use a full cast?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just, I think it's just probably just a way. I think it's because of where the brakes are. that an air cast would still be too much movement.
Okay. I see. I think that makes sense. So they're pretty much trying to keep his legs straight. So
Right. So he rolls up and he says he's hungry. So I hurry up and get him food, and I set it down, and he clears it all, and he's just kind of sitting back, and I'm like, so how you feeling? He's like, I'm pretty good. I was like, does your leg still hurt? He's like, no, it's not that bad right now. I'm like, well, that's good. It's good that it's better. He's like, yeah, it still hurts a little bit if I try to move it or whatever. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I know I'm not getting off that easy.
yeah. So do you think, is he going to milk it a little bit, you think, or does he?
You know what? If he does milk it, he totally deserves it, because I was not primo. It was not a shining moment of fatherhood for me.
So I guess, do you think that scared him from jumping ever again off of stuff like that, or do you think he's going to bounce back?
I think jumping off a porch railing will probably not be in his future. Whether or not I'm going to find him jumping off of other stuff later on down the line, that's probably still in the cards. Like, I'm sure he'll jump off something else, and then his line of thinking is, well, it's not a porch railing, so I should be good.
The porch was 5 feet, and this is 8 feet. I mean,
yeah,
gravity's
totally different.
You're closer to the ground. Gravity's pulling you harder. This totally makes sense. You hear, Mr. Richard, little Richard's not moving again. And I think he's hurt. Just you rush out there. Oh God, my baby.
Well, yeah. See, exactly. That's what's gonna happen, because from now on, whenever any of the kids hurt themselves, now it's gonna be like my oldest is gonna slip on some ice and scrape her knee and be like, "Is it okay? Can you move it? Does it? Let's pack it here. I'll carry you. Let's go to the hospital. Dad, I'm fine. No, you're gonna make it. You hear me?
Dad, I'm 27.
Don't go into the light.
Don't speak. You're just using all of your strength. You gotta let this scab heal.
Just let it heal. It'll be okay.
So is this the first traumatic injury that you've had to deal with on your kids?
Yeah. I would say that this is the one injury that. Well, no. Actually, now that I'm thinking about I wasn't there at all for this one, but the boy actually did hurt himself before. He was playing basketball, now that I think about it. He was playing basketball, and he went to go dunk a ball in the basket because it was a low hoop, but it was like a regular metal hoop. So he puts the ball in the hoop, but then the hoop kind of came down and crashed on his head. So it crashed on his head. It split his head open, and my wife was there for this. I wasn't around at all. I was at work. But I guess if I remember the story, he ran up to where my wife was sitting with just blood running down his face,
I couldn't imagine anything worse as a parent. Your kid running up to you, just blood all over his face.
Yeah, see, I think in that instance, I'd be like, what the did you just come from a human sacrifice? What the hell happened?
Somebody attacked you and you just go into defense mode.
Who was it? It was that kid, wasn't it?
Just some kid in a red shirt and you think it's the blood punch him.
Yeah, just walking down the street. It was that kid. Come here, you son of a...
Nobody hurts Daddy's baby cub. It's like, Dad, please do not call me that. I'm 27 years old.
Stop hitting him. You son of a bitch.
Some mom comes up. Stop hitting my child. You're next, woman.
Do you see what he did to my son? Dad, I was slam dunking a ball. Well,
this is awkward.
We should find you some medical attention.
No, officer, clearly you can see this kid attacked me first.
Look at this. Look at my shirt. He totally stained it.
This is my favorite shirt.
Well, bastard.
And that's how Richard found his way to prison. And he was the one getting fractured each night.
Aww. Anal sex is never fun.
When you're on the receiving end.
Especially in prison.
You cry and tell your cellmate it's like, it hurts. He still doesn't give a damn.
If my dad was here, he'd tell me. If my dad was here, he'd tell me to man up. Dad.
Your cellmate just rubs your head. It's like, I don't care. You can call me daddy and man up if you want to.
Oh.
It's so beautiful and terrible at the same time.
That's sweet, but awful. So in that instance, he did go to the ER and he received staples in his head. He had a good I want to say like a 3 or 4 inch gash on the very top of his head, and so they had to put in staples. He didn't have stitches; he had staples, which I don't know if one's better than the other. Like, oh, it's not that bad, so we'll put staples in. But the thought of putting staples into someone's head just doesn't, that just does not sound appealing at all.
Well, I know now, don't they use like that glue more often?
Oh yeah, that I think they call it like liquid stitches or something, where they just like squeeze it, like they like squeeze together, and it's like almost like super glue.
Yeah. Well, okay. So if we're gonna start talking about traumatic injuries, I've got a couple where that like glue stuff is just gold. So
really,
yeah. So I'm not the greatest cook in the world, but I like to experiment sometimes with cooking. So I was gonna cook me some ribs, right?
Okay. So wait a minute. So this is a story that's gonna go from. It starts with, so I was cooking something, and it's going to end with, and then I got liquid stitches.
Yes, exactly.
What the hell were you making?
Well, I was cooking ribs, and I know some people are probably going to say this is the worst thing ever, but I heard somebody tell me that to make it a little easier to cook, they'll boil the ribs for a little bit and then put them on the smoker, just so it's easier and you don't have to worry about not getting them cooked all the way and all that jazz.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
So I had my ribs, and I tried to put them in my little bowl I had to boil them for a little bit. And, ribs being ribs, it was too big. So I get out my big old butcher knife that I just sharpened the night before, and I start cutting in the middle of the ribs.
Oh, okay.
And as you're taught as a Boy Scout, what way do you cut? You cut away from yourself, right?
Right.
Well, I got to the very last bit of the meat, and I was having trouble cutting it. So I grab a hold of it, and I'm cutting towards myself, putting all my pressure I can to get it cut.
Oh, God.
And then all of a sudden, I get through that last bit, and my hand jerks up really hard and hits my finger. And right then, I have a thought of like, oh, that was dumb. That was dumb. Drop the ribs, pull the knife out of my finger, and just blood just gushing. I'd hit the top of my middle finger and cut pretty freaking deep. Run to the bathroom, put my hand under there, and like running water over it. I think I screamed "fuck" really loud. Tiffany comes running over, like, "What's going on?" And I have like a trail of blood following me to the bathroom. I'm trying to stand up on the sink without fainting because.
Oh, so this is recently?
It was 2-3 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
And so I'm letting the water run and the blood, and she's looking at it. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna have to go to the hospital. That needs stitches." I'm like, "No."
Yeah. Are you okay with the sight of blood?
Yeah. I think I was more like woozy because of the fact that I cut deep. I probably hit the bone. I cut that deep.
Oof.
So I think that's what made me woozy, and probably the thought of like, "Fuck, I may have to go to the hospital and get this taken care of."
See, now I have worked in a professional kitchen for over 10 years, and I've cut myself, but I've never cut myself that badly.
Well, and if in like a kitchen, usually when you're cutting like ribs and things, you probably cut down on them on your cutting board.
Sure.
Whereas this, I was just kind of being stupid dumbass and trying to cut it in the air.
Yeah.
But as I was letting it rinse out, I remember we had some of that liquid. It's not really called liquid stitch what I had, but it was a liquid Band-Aid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think that's what it's called, liquid bandage or something like that.
Yeah. And so I got it to where it was still bleeding pretty bad, but the stuff I had antibacterial, and it was, pretty legit stuff. So I go ahead and just douse, dry my finger off best I can and just douse it in that. And my finger was still bleeding so bad that because that liquid bandage stuff kind of hardens. And as it didn't even get a chance to really harden because the blood just started filling it up like a balloon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I had it fill up enough. I had to pop it and let it out, wipe the stuff off, dry it, do it again. I mean, I probably did that for a good 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
Where I would just, I'd clean the stuff off and it would just start spewing blood.
Oof.
Yeah. but I manned up, Richard, and I did not go to the hospital.
Thanks for that.
I know Tiffany looked at it. Her mom looked at it. She's like, you should get that look at it. I mean, if you chip that bone, that could cause pretty bad infection. And I was just like, whatever. It's just a middle finger.
Yeah. It'll be all right.
But really, I just cried.
Yeah, I've never, like I said, I've never cut myself that badly. One time I burned myself really bad. That was probably the worst injury I think I've had while working in a kitchen was this one place I worked at had a deep fat fryer, and it was an older, super old model of fryer, and the way it worked was basically it's there was the heating element sat in it on a hinge. And the way you had to clean it, if you wanted to change the grease out, you lifted the element up out of it, so it came up out of it on a hinge, and then you grabbed the bin from each side and you lifted it up out of the fryer that held and this fryer held all the grease. So you picked the whole thing up and then carried it to where you dump the old dirty grease at. So I was probably maybe 16 at the time, and I had to clean the fryer. So I lift the thing up, and I grab the handles on the sides, and I pick it up, and I'm walking with it out the door to where the grease pit is. And as I'm walking, you're basically imagine walking with a tub that's full of liquid, and as you're walking, what's it doing? It's
sloshing around.
Sloshing around back and forth. So I guess I must have been either walking too fast, or I didn't have a fantastic hold on it. I didn't drop it, but as it's sloshing around, some of it sloshes up over the side and onto my arm, on probably half of my forearm.
And it's not like boiling water. Boiling water, you can kind of damp off or get off. Oil, it just sits.
Exactly.
You rub it, and it just spreads. That's all it's doing.
Yeah. So I had just turned this thing off and picked this thing up to walk out with this. So it's hot. I mean, it's at least probably a good 300 degrees, probably 300, 350. So this thing sloshes on my arm. So I'm standing in the middle of the kitchen. This thing just sloshes on my arm. Now I know in that instant that this grease is on my arm, in that instant, I'm like, okay, if I drop this thing, it's going to be worse. The whole situation is going to go from bad to worse.
Well, that's smart, because, I mean, that would have been my reaction, because you would have probably bent over, dropped it. It would have sloshed and splashed probably right in your face, on your shirt and everything.
Yeah.
It would have been bad news bears for sure.
Very, very true. Also, it would have created a gigantic mess that everybody had been like, clean that shit up. So it sloshes on my arm. I know I can't drop it. I'm also probably 2 feet from the dining room, and they would get, pissed at me if I started yelling out curse words, which is the other thing I would instantly want to do. So I hurry up, and run outside with this thing. Like as fast as I can walk, I just haul ass outside. As soon as I get out the back door, I set that bin down as ever so gingerly as possible. And the second it touches the ground, I let go of it, and out come the curse words.
Oh,
the
yeah,
16-year-old that this 16-year-old said the most outlandish shit. I would have made the Pope blush.
I imagine that's one of the scenarios, because whenever something like that happens to me, if I get hurt, I instantly go to like just beating the crap out of any inanimate object that's near me. A table, those trash cans. And the bad thing is you hit those things so hard and you're so pissed that you end up doing more damage to yourself because now you have a bruised hand.
Yeah. So I'm stomping around and I'm screaming curse words, and I mean, none of this is helping. Like, it's not helping my current situation, the fact that I have this gigantic burn on my arm. So I sit down and I just, have my few moments of sanity where I'm just like, fuck this hurts. And, the pain kind of subsides and I, go about my day. So over the course of the next hour, I start to see a blister. This blister that was on my forearm probably went from maybe an inch or two below my wrist as where it started. And this is on the inside of my arm. So an inch or two below my wrist. And it went probably, I'd say at least 5 inches down my forearm.
Mm-hmm. Ouch.
In length, and a good probably 2-3 inches across. It was this gigantic blister. Huge. That was probably the worst burn I had ever had in my life.
So you were still at work when this was going on.
I was still at work. And at that point, by the time the blister had shown up, I'm just like, there's nothing I can do. I mean, the best thing I could do at that point is just wrap it, because I can't. Number one, like, I don't, you don't want to work over top, especially where if I'm working on a grill, I don't want this blister over the top of that stuff, because number one, not that sanitary.
Yeah.
And number two, it's just more fucking heat.
So did you go up to your boss? You're like, man, my arm really hurts. And he just smacks you and says, toughen up, boy.
Yeah, right?
Get back to work.
Yeah, that's a good point. See, like, every time I hurt myself, I just go, I'm like, guys, I got owies. And all the authority figures in my life are like, toughen up. It's not that bad.
You think they whined about burns and scrapes on the Oregon Trail? Like, that was a video game.
They all got dysentery.
I don't know how this is relevant to this conversation.
You died of dysentery. So, yeah. So anyway, I wrapped it up with a bandage, and basically it just stayed a gigantic blister until finally I just couldn't take it anymore, and I had to drain it because it had gotten bad.
What is it about guys? I mean, I would imagine, and maybe this is just because I'm a guy and I haven't really been around too many girls that have had these things happen to them, but like my finger, your arm. I'm very much like, I'll just give it a few days and see what happens. If nothing falls off, then I'll be fine.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. Like whenever dudes get injuries, it's all like, I'll just I'll ride it out. So it is a guy thing. It's a guy thing to be like, yeah, it'll be fine. I don't need to get. Is it because we all have? I think maybe it's because we all have an innate fear of doctors. That's my guess. Yeah. What is it? What is it with guys and be like, no, it'll be fine. I think it's we all have an innate fear of doctors.
A little bit. I mean, my fear, and maybe it's because a majority of the time, whenever I've gone to the doctor with an issue, typically what happens, they're like, oh, we'll take some aspirin, or oh, watch it for a few days and see what happens. I never feel like I get very good, like, oh no, this is something serious, we need to take care of it. It always just seems like, meh, watch it and see what happens.
Right. And then you're thinking in your head, like, I'm sitting in this hospital. You're thinking about all the time you're wasting sitting in the ER, the money that you're spending
Yes.
on the bill.
I essentially paid this doctor $100 to be like, meh. Basically what I would have done looking in the mirror.
Exactly. So maybe that's a guy thing that, you have some debilitating injury and that's, oh, well, it's fine. I'll just.
Can you pinpoint what that is? Because I don't think it's a fear of death, or because I don't know, like what is it that possesses guys to just kind of be like, meh?
Yeah, I really can't pinpoint it either. I mean, I don't really have any other perspective I can look at it from. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, my dad cut his foot with a chainsaw once. And
really?
Yeah, he was cutting a log and the log kind of bit on him and it kicked the saw back. And I think he went to the doctor pretty quick on that one because he knew he just screwed something up pretty bad.
Yeah, I think even if it had just been like a slight cut, I think it's just the visual of the experience that had just happened that would cause me to be like, I should go get this looked at.
My shoe is completely full of blood right now. We better go to the hospital on this one.
Even if it's not that bad, just the visual of seeing a chainsaw go into something that's on your person, that's when you're like, I need to go. Something. I don't know if I've screwed anything up, but I'm pretty sure I have.
You go in, doctor's like, meh.
It'll be okay.
Just watch it for a few days if it stops bleeding.
I mean, do you really want something for it?
He reaches in.
I think that's the other thing too. Of like, I honestly cannot remember the last time I've been to a doctor for any sort of injury or anything like that. But I do recall it, like you go and then it's kind of they give you the meh, but then they also are like, well, I mean, do you feel like you need something? And at that point, I feel like they're baiting me because then they're sitting there going, I mean, how much of a bitch are you gonna be?
Yeah, kind of.
Like, are you gonna be this? Are you gonna, be a? Are you gonna man up and just, see what happens with it, and maybe you need something later, or do you feel like you need something now because, oh, God forbid, Nancy can't get through the day without. Nancy needs a painkiller.
Doctor's giving you grief over the fact you just almost cut your foot off.
Yeah, like you almost cut your foot off. Doctor's like, I mean, do you feel like you need something?
I mean, God, we duct taped it. What else do we need to do for you?
I looked at it and went, I mean, what else do you want from me?
Sorry, not duct tape, medical tape. It's just a different color. Just pay your $200 bill, your copay, whatever.
Put a little Johnson & Johnson on it, and...
Well, I even feel that way. Like when I get sick, my mom was always pretty big about, man, my tummy hurts. And like, I don't think I can go to school today. It's like, really, you don't think you can go to school?
Oh yeah. Oh, every single time.
And so it's like, well, I think I can, maybe. But I mean, I don't feel good, or do I not feel good?
I don't feel good, but should I go? I mean,
well, I always question myself now. It's like, do I really not feel good, or is it something else? Am I like faking myself out here?
It's all psychosomatic.
Because the only time I've ever, where I would say like I was deathly ill was last year, like right at New Year's. There's a bad flu going around, and I slept for like 3 days. I'd get up, go sit in the living room while Tiffany was watching. I think she was watching Grimm. I'd be like, man, I'm feeling a little better. Like 10 minutes into the show, I'm like, nope, going back to bed.
Yeah, so you're walking away, and she's like, are you really that sick? And then you're like, well, am I?
No, that was one of the points is like, I don't give a fuck if you question if I'm sick or not. I just give you the bird, be like, fuck you, I am going to bed. I feel complete and utter shit right now. It was so bad. So this, I was trying to figure the last time I went to the doctor, and I went to one of those walk-in clinics when this happened.
Okay.
And I walk in and sit down. And I'm sitting there, and I see the person, and he's like, "Do you have medical insurance?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've got a card somewhere here," and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, that's the first question, of course.
Yeah, and I'm looking.
How you plan it? Before we go any further, before I look at anything and go, how do you plan on paying for my expert opinion?
And I
on whatever it is that you have that probably isn't really much of anything because you're just too much of a bitch to deal with.
That's the first 4 years of medical school. It's like, okay, the sick person's coming in and bitching. How do you redirect that? But I couldn't find my card, and he says, "Well, it's like $150 if you don't have a card."
Oh, here we go.
And so I'm just like, "Fuck it, dude. Whatever. I need a note. I need something. Just do whatever you need." And I think he asked me my address or my phone number, and I blanked. I couldn't think of the most basic thing. And at that point, he kind of was like, "Yeah, you're sick." I'm like, well, thanks. Thanks for your expert opinion.
Well, at least at that point, he's not like, oh, this fucking dude doesn't even know where the fuck he's at right now. No, I do not sell hamburgers, sir.
Please stop asking me for the fur burger.
Stop trying to hand in library books. This is a hospital.
But I think I called you that day, told you, I'm like, Richard, I feel really bad. And you're like, really? Do you really feel bad?
Do you really feel bad? I don't know. I don't know if I could do a show tonight, Richard. Be like, I mean, you're just sitting and talking. Is it really? Is it that strenuous?
Just hear, "Blah, blah."
I guess I could.
That's right, bitch. Let's do this show. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
I'm Richard, and this is Shawn. And apparently, he's speaking the language of sissy pants.
I just want to do my best for you. Well, I guess at this point, do you want to? I mean, like I said, I got this house all to myself. I just got some food delivered. It was kind of awkward. I had to walk outside without any pants on, but
Yeah,
I didn't get a free pizza out of the deal.
That happens,
which I was hoping for.
Sweet.
But I guess, do you have any housekeeping you like to throw out there before? Or no, I'm sorry, Richard's closing thoughts.
My closing thought is sometimes you actually should listen to your kids, I suppose. And while some kids may have the tendency to play themselves up, maybe to get a sick day or whatever, they want to stay home from school a day and they kind of play it up. That's understandable. And as a parent, you definitely should watch out for that. Don't get played. That's one thing. That being said, sometimes the other side of that could be that they hurt themselves, and they hurt themselves fairly badly. And then you come out looking like a complete and utter ass. And in those times, the road to salvation lies in buying back your child's love with food,
candy, and video games.
And yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really have is, in the event that you as a parent don't come out looking the most rosy, you can always buy back your kids' love, which is what I did.
That's beautiful. I mean, at least you're putting in the good effort now.
I should put that on a card.
All right, well, I'll do a little bit of housekeeping.
Happy recovery, son. This is the first in many steps to buying back your love. All the best. Love, Dad.
All right, well, I'll do a little bit of housekeeping. Go to our website, we're languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter, we're at languageofbro. Email us at eatthebeaver@languageofbromance.com. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe and leave a review on iTunes and Stitcher, which rhymes with stitches.
Oh, yeah. I see what you did there. You're clever.
Yeah. Working on some new.
Also, don't forget to check us out on the Pod Bros Network,
the best podcast site on the internet that will never judge us if we're not feeling well.
They won't. And they'll always try and they'll do everything they can to buy your love.
That's what John does for us.
He does. He buys our love.
And if you're in the need for some headbuds, go to tweakedaudio.com, use the promo code LOBARMY, and you'll get 33% off. All right. Was there anything else before I close her out?
Star Wars fact of the day. Let me think. Let's see. I didn't have one prepared, so now I just need to pull one from memory. I already said the thing about Vader. I'll tell you what. No, I'll make it kind of a scavenger hunt. Go Google the Journal of Wills. That's a Star Wars thing. It's actually a Lucas thing. When Lucas when Lucas was writing the script for Star Wars, there was a bit. Okay, here. Actually, you know what? You can do the Journal of Wills. That's fine. But originally, in the original Star Wars script, Anakin's name, actually Luke's name in the original Star Wars script, his last name was Starkiller, not Skywalker. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think you told me about that.
Maybe I did. In the original script, Luke's last name was Starkiller. And that's going to come in handy because when all of us go to see episode 7, the name of the base, I want to say it's the Resistance base. I'm not totally sure, is called Starkiller Base. And I mean, how good a pull is that? That's a deep cut.
Tying it all back together.
Oh my God. As soon as I hear that, I'm going to be like, they use Starkiller. They use the name. So there you go. Star Wars fact of the day.
All right. Well, I guess that's all the bromance we have for this show then. And I'm Sean.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the beaver. Ow, ow, Richard. Ow. Ow.
No.
Ow.
Don't do this. Don't do this. Man up. Just man up. God, I can't get past it.